Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Throws Show. Whoa, 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 whoa. And I am here for the second time, third time. What time are you on the Throws Show? How many times?
This is my third.
Okay, third time on the Throws Show. Throws University, high school throws coach, former D1 collegiate throws coach, Sam Weeks.
Hey.
And it's been a while since we've done a throw show. Things might look a little different. People might be a little different. So for those of you that don't know, my name's Jason. I work for Garage Strength, which is probably the bigger entity affiliated with Throws University and Dane Miller. Dane is currently at Indoor Nationals for track and field, coaching some of our elite shot putters, which we'll preview later in today's throw show. And so basically I was a thrower for about 15 years. I was a collegiate shot putter, and I've sort of been on the periphery of the throws world for quite a while. And so Sam's going to be taking us through all the technical aspects of today's throws, but it's been quite a while since we've done a throw show, so this one's probably going to be a longer one. We got a lot of throws.
So we're going to see a lot of the men's and women's shot put. We got some training clips. We have some discus stuff. We have some weight throws. We're going to be touching a lot of different topics, so it's going to be fun.
Okay, so let's get right into it. And today's first thrower is going to be kind of a shock in some ways to the throwing world. Mya Lesnar, as she goes 19 meters and 7 to take the NCAA women's lead. And I'll tell you what, man, dude, her technique's really freaking good.
Absolutely. I follow Coach Bedard, and I've been following Maya's progress all through fall, winter, and to this point now. And they've been putting in some serious work. So to me, it doesn't surprise me that she's number one. Things have been clicking pretty well through their training. So, it's still kind of early. So let's see what she does.
Yeah, you can kind of see, dude, she's got the natural athleticism. You can see the clear explosiveness she's probably gotten partially from her dad. But, dude, it's exciting to see because is she a senior now? Because I feel like she's been in college for a while.
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, COVID has kind of, screwed up my perception of where collegiate athletes are with eligibility. But I'll tell you what, dude, if she wants to take a shot at this, as a career, I think, dude, she's probably going to change up the game quite a bit. So
100%. And
then following that, we have the number 2 currently in the women's shot put for the NCAA. We have Jaida Ross, and she went 18.84 at Arkansas. What do you think of her technique?
I think her technique is super smooth. I looked at her series, and she had all of her throws were over 1750, and she had 3 throws over 18. And obviously, this throw, she sets it up really well. She gets around the finish, and she just smashes it forward. So, I mean, her technique as a whole is there. Now it's just continuing to build.
For sure. I think it's going to be exciting to see for NCAAs this season because she is still really close to Mya, so it's up for grabs for see who's going to get the championship. Yeah, so this is a throw that I found that I was excited to see. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce this girl's name.
Yemisi?
I
think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay, so she's from Germany, but I think she's also Nigerian, and she went 1957. I think she did it at the Nordhausen meet. Dude, this girl, I've been watching her throw for the last, year and a half, and I feel like every time she's at a big meet, she's just launching them.
Yeah. Obviously, last year at the World Championships, it was her first time going 19, which is, huge, especially for that stage. And, she's carried that energy over into this indoor season with 2 marks over 19, or 2 meets, over 19 meters already. So it's super exciting to see. I love her, celebration, her pop off for, the big toss. So it's she's very fun to watch.
So at the time, this was the world number 2. I don't know if that stands still currently. But dude, one thing I'll say is the Nordhausen meet, I think, is one of the coolest setups out there. And I wish we had indoor meets like this. So the fact that they shut down a whole gymnasium, they line up probably 1,000 people on one side of the arena just to, you can just see like everybody's clapping, everybody's just like going nuts. And then like, dude, that reaction at the end, like, man, that's why you do the sport, man.
Absolutely.
And then we got, up to this point, I think is still the world lead, Sarah Mitton going 1974 over at York College in Canada. And dude, she's been doing this for so long. Like I remember when she came out to Garage Strength a couple years back, and she was like on a massive PR series at the time, where she was like, a few weeks earlier she just threw over like 1720, and then in her next meet she went 1750, and then her next meet she went like 1770. Came here, hit a massive PR going like 1862, and we knew that. I was like, oh shoot, she's like ready to like make it to that next level. And the fact that she's coming in and like she's consistently hitting these high marks over high 19s up towards of 20 meters. She's got the rest of her crew there. That's coached by Richard Parkinson. Great coach, great guy. You know, what do you think of her movement here as she leads into Indoor Worlds?
I think overall Sarah's movement each year has gotten significantly better, and it's exciting because like when you think like her, Chase Ely, like Maggie, like some of the, Yemisi, some of the top women's throwers, like they're all super competitive and they're all like very close to each other within distance. So it's like, seeing Sarah just continue to build her technique, it just makes, for me, it makes everything fun. And it's like, I can't wait till all of them just duke it out.
Yeah, I think it would be cool, like, if we could get them, because we've had Chase, we've had Sarah both throw here, but at different times. I got to talk to Dane. Maybe you could help set that up, Sam, in the future. We get Chase versus Sarah in an upcoming Garage Strength meet.
Let's see.
And then we got this great throw from the freshman over in Texas, going over 18 meters.
Yeah. Nina, obviously coached by Zeb, went 18:08. Her first collegiate meet, her third collegiate meet. Going over 18 meters. So like that's huge.
Is she international?
Yeah, she's German.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
Yeah.
So the German women, like, they're really stepping up their game.
Yeah. They're pushing.
I think the interesting part about like the German team right now is like the glide. They're definitely seem to be phasing out the glide and really, really transitioning to the spin and being very successful with it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got the current world leader in the men's shot put, Leonardo Fabbri, going 22:37. Dude, this guy made a huge statement at the World Championships last year, almost throwing 23 meters. Like, no one thought, like, he's always been there, like, I think going into, like, last year, he had a PR of, like, just short of 22, and he's always kind of been in the mix, but it's like, once the tail end of last year happened, once the World Championships happened, that was like a coming out party for him, and now he's just been on fire every time he throws.
Absolutely. Just like you said, that World Championship where it exploded, it's just like ever since that point, like the evolution of his career and his performance has just grown, and it's exciting because now, he was very close. Ryan Krauser's the best, but he was pretty close to sniping him at the World Championship. So now it's, making it a little more exciting. Not saying it's not exciting, but we're adding more people into that stew. So I think, if Fabbri just keeps doing what he's doing, it's going to be fun.
I think the interesting thing about him is like, and I don't know if people like fully understand this, but from what I've been told, I haven't actually met the guy. He's like close to 6'10".
Oh, I believe it.
So he doesn't move like Krauser. Like Krauser might have like the most pitch perfect technique you could imagine in the rotational shot, but there's still like kind of that just I'm going to punch it as hard as I freaking can, like on his throws, that I just kind of love. It's like, it's not the prettiest technique, but it's super effective.
It's efficient.
Yeah, it's very, very efficient. That's like, and Dane's been talking about this for years. It's the just try to get around your left, go right down into the middle as fast as possible, get your left foot down, swinging as fast as possible, and then just stay on as long as possible. Like, everyone's got their own variation of doing it, and he's got his, and dude, it, like you said, it's working for him. And I think what's cool to see is going into outdoors, like, and even honestly in the Indoor World Championship, like, you never know. Darlin Romani did beat Krauser at the last Indoor Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's still the one, and that's one we should probably bring up. That's the one title that Krauser doesn't have yet.
Mm.
He's the only person to have like an Olympic and world title, but he doesn't have an indoor world.
Yeah.
So who knows?
That's what I said.
Maybe
excitement.
Maybe Fabbri's the guy.
Who knows?
And then we got the previous world lead, which was Zane Weir, another Italian, going 21.84 at the same meet that the German girl did, going 21.84. Dude, he has so much freaking pop on his throws. It's like he has to be like one of the twitchiest athletes on planet Earth.
Oh, absolutely. And you could see it in the finish. And going back to what we were saying, this is at the same meet that Yemisi was at. And if you play the video, just the crowd was in it. And you can see, after he hit that toss, he was like, yeah, I just did that. The crowd was going wild. So, I could only imagine just the adrenaline that he was going through. He knew, I did that.
And another thing this is something that you and I brought up before we got on air was, Throwers Universe made a post comparing the way that Zane releases the ball to Brian Oldfield. And Brian Oldfield is known for jumping at the ball. The thing with Zane that you said is the image shows that he's jumping at the ball, but kind of always, as you were talking about with Fabbri and Krauser, it's you tend to want to stay on the ground as long as possible when you go in to deliver the shot. Why do you think it looks like he's jumping?
I think in the photo of that post, they just got the perfect frame of when, he's trying to recover from his reverse. But when you watch his technique, especially in slow motion, you can see that he works the ground very long and he gets forward on his finish. I just think it was literally just the perfect timing. So you watch it, you see it. He's pretty grounded on that finish. So I don't think he jumps, and I don't advocate for jumping. I think if you were to jump, you have to be really, really good to get away with it. But I think as a technical model, stay grounded.
And I think another aspect to that too is this is also pretty early in the year for him. So it's athletes are still refining their technique. They're not probably going to be as proficient in their movement as they might want to be until they get later, closer to the championship.
Absolutely.
We got another big toss. This one from Bob Bertemes of Luxembourg. And dude, I love watching this guy throw because he was a glider for such a long period of time, and he still spins like he's a glider trying to spin.
Yeah.
Now he's still getting a lot out of it. Don't get me wrong, dude's super effective with his movement, but you can just see those glide tendencies that just I love this. I was a glider for years, and Sam's also a glider.
Still a glider.
So it's I love it.
Yeah.
You have any other thoughts?
I was listening to the Throw Big, Throw Far podcast, and they were talking to Mitch Krauser, Ryan Krauser's dad, and they were talking about how the glide has, it's still within Ryan's technique. So, with Bob, you were saying he's still a glider. You can see that when he's holding that wrap position, it's very much like the glide, and then as he's getting around, glide is more like a linear rotation, but I like to believe that you can have a little bit of rotation in there. You can see that with his finish. So I personally believe that gliders who transition over to the spin are the best throwers.
Okay, so now we actually got a YouTube video from a comp, and I really want to highlight one specific thrower here in the men's shot. So first up, we got Tom. Went a little bit over 21. This was in Ostrava in the Czech Republic. This is a big indoor meet. He went over 21. Really solid throw for Tom leading into Worlds. Get a good look at that. Dude, Tom, he's got to be the fastest shot putter of all time. I would be curious if someone could test his speed, meters per second across the circle.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who would challenge him in terms of actual foot speed.
I don't think anyone can.
Then we got Thomas Stanek, out of the Czech Republic. And he's thrown over 22 a couple times, and this was another big 21-meter throw. You know what's funny is I like those angles that they use for slow-mo as an artistic way of showing the shot, but I can't stand it for technique.
Yeah, it's very hard to kind of just figure out what he's trying to achieve from those angles.
So this is a message to every broadcaster. Please shoot wide and shoot from the back or for the corner. Now, this is who I want to talk about. Roger Steen.
Taking the big dub.
Hell yeah. 21-37, pumping it out there. Former D3 NCAA champion.
On his last attempt, too.
This was his last attempt at the comp.
Yeah, this was the last attempt.
Dude, he's a gamer. I was so happy when he won 22 at Tucson last year. Well-deserved. One of the hardest workers in the sport. And, like, dude, he's proof. There is video. I just want people to know this. There's video of Roger, his junior year of college, throwing like 16 meters at the NCAA meet. And now you fast forward 11, 12 years, 10 years, and he's throwing 22 meters. He's throwing 70 feet at international competitions where he's beating former world champions because he just stuck with it. He refined his technique. He improved his strength level. He's probably one of the strongest shot putters in the entire world. And it's like, yeah, obviously not everyone has like the potential to reach that level of athleticism, but that's clearly what hard work and dedication gets you, is something where you're one of the best athletes in your entire sport in the world.
Absolutely. Did you know, I believe it was 755 pounds. He squatted for 5 the other day.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Go follow Roger Steen.
Was it Dodge Swayze? Dodge Swayze on
believe so,
Instagram.
yeah.
Yo, follow Dodge Swayze on Instagram, Roger. We want to get more followers for Roger, dude.
Absolutely.
And then we got, from the international men's shot put to the NCAA, we have the top NCAA men's shot put throw, Aleksander Kolesnikoff, currently now out of Georgia, formerly of Harvard, going 20-45 for that lead. And, this is someone that Dane and I have been talking about for a little over a year now. This guy has incredible technique, and not only that, he has incredible energy that he brings to the circle.
Absolutely. So I actually know Alex on a personal level. I got to see his training in person when he was at Harvard with Coach Amo, and this dude is literally a beast. Like, he's so efficient in the circle for how big he is, and obviously that's continuing to grow with Coach Babbitt, but he brings it every day, and you can see it in the video. He's popping off. He knows, like, he hit a big toss, and he's letting the world know.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see at NCAAs where he ends up, because that would be awesome if he were to come back around from going to Harvard to Georgia and capturing a title. And this is something that I really want to talk about. This is something that I found that I thought was really freaking cool. So we got Brandon Lloyd, who used to be a JUCO athlete. I believe he may have went to Barton in Kansas. I used to go to school in Kansas, so I think he came from Barton, but he's Jamaican, and he might be the biggest shot putter potentially of all time at standing over 7 feet tall, throwing over 60 feet at Arizona State, for Arizona State, throwing with Ryan Whiting. Where do you think someone like with this build could end up, like, if he continues with the sport?
Honestly, probably one of the top guys. Obviously being with Ryan Whiting, he's gonna have good guidance. There was actually a picture of him, Krauser, and like all of Ryan's trainees, and you could see that like he was towering Ryan. No offense to Ryan, but just having those resources behind you, I don't see why not, growing in this sport to a high competitive level.
Okay, so now we take it back to the, Team Garage Strength, as our very own Tamon Johnson, hits a massive indoor PB. Great start to the season. First time over 20 meters indoors, throwing 20-21. Sam, you were at this meet. What was it like competing with him?
So we went to this meet just knowing like it's the first competition. We all had our technical cues and we were just trying to go out there and smash. Through the series, Tamon, he was hitting every toss, and this was the last attempt, and we just got the crowd going, and he just hit it. Like, as soon as he got around, like, you could just see, like, I was in that far corner. And once I saw him get to his power and just hit it, like, I knew it was a big toss. He knew it was a big toss. The crowd knew it was a big toss. So it was electric.
Yeah, and Tamon's been training with us for, going on 4 years now. And I've been telling him, I was like, dude, I can see, like, the patterns, like, you're building. But I think, like, the big thing I noticed about this year is, like, and this is kind of with the whole team in general right now, is, like, the strength base of almost all the throwers right now is significantly higher than I feel like it's been before. And I feel like that's really helping him, where it's like you don't need to rely so much on having the perfect technique. If you have the strength and motor patterns, like, just ingrained in you, you're able to, like, I can reach that baseline. Is like, let's say his baseline a year ago may have been mid-18s to low 19s. Given his current meet trajectory, his baseline is now mid-19s to, like, potentially mid-20 meters. And then he'll be getting close to his own personal best, which is perfect for an Olympic year as we get closer to trials. And, of course, him and the rest of our team, which you'll be seeing, coming up next, are competing at indoor nationals this weekend, which is why Dane isn't here. And I think this will be a big coming out party for a lot of them.
Oh, absolutely.
And another team of garage strength, we got Eric Favors going 1999 overseas, competing for Ireland. He doesn't have to worry about, the USA Nationals. He also threw, I believe, 20 meters 18 in another meet. We just don't have video of it. But Eric's been looking really good, similar to T. He's just been building, getting way, way stronger. I think his technique is getting better. And I think we need to look to see, like, his goal. I think he might have one more meet left. I could be wrong, but his goal is to try to qualify for Indoor Worlds for Ireland. How do you think he's looking right now?
Just knowing Eric's training and knowing the technique stuff that he's working on, I think he's in a really, really good spot. The funny thing about this throw is he's actually wearing a sneaker on his right foot.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
Yeah, so he was saying that this circle is, like, kind of fast, so, like, to really kind of feel the circle a little bit more, he put a sneaker on. But besides that, his training's been going really, really well. He's super explosive in the gym. You should see his lifts. We actually have a clip later on in this show to highlight that. But his technique, like, we've, him and Dane and the rest of us, we've been contributing, but he's been really piecing it together. And I think as he's getting these good competitions in, he's just going to be in a spot to really hit something big.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add is, like, he was talking about his training. If you want to learn more about Eric's training, dude, he's very good at posting his stuff to social media. So follow him on Instagram at FrickAvers, but also he's probably the only thrower that I know of that vlogs on YouTube and really gives you, like, a deep dive in the background of how he's training, what he's doing to get better, what he's eating and stuff like that. So if you're an upcoming thrower who wants to learn what it actually takes to be a professional athlete in the sport, make sure you subscribe to Eric's YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And don't forget his TikTok. He puts a lot of stuff on his TikTok as well.
Then we got another garage strength thrower, Nik Curtis, throwing 20 meters and 10 earlier this indoor season. Dude, Nik is such a beast, man. He's so big and, like, you can just tell, like, as he's refining his technique and he's throwing more and more better and more he's getting better, like, it's hard for me to see, like, what Nik's ceiling is, because I think he could be, like, one of the big dogs in the coming years.
Absolutely. I was talking to Dane. Dane did an analysis, and it's on the Throws You page, and he was just talking about as soon as Nik gets that left foot open out of the back, the rest is history. So, like, Nik's been grinding. He's been refining his technique. He's been getting stronger. And, there are minor details that he still has to fix, but I think he's going to, put himself in a position to go big really, really soon. I was going to ask Dane this question, but obviously he's not here. But out of Tamon, Eric, and Nik, who do you think goes 21 first?
Dude, I don't know if I can answer that. Like, I mean, technically, T's in the lead in terms of overall personal best. It's
a tough question.
I think it's like if I were to go purely off of metrics, like numbers, probably Eric. But at the same time, if Nik just randomly comes out in April and throws 21:09 or something, I'm like, that's not going to surprise me. Same thing with Taman. I mean, Eric, as you'll see, he's the strongest thrower we've ever trained.
100%.
And potentially the most explosive when you count what his Olympic lifts are. But, like, there's so much more that goes into it, you know, to be a successful shot putter and throw far. And it's like, I think Taman has probably some of the best feeling for the ball and the way to, like, stay grounded and, like, apply force to the implement.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's very similar to Krauser and Awatunde. I would compare it to those two. It's one thing I always talk about is, like, some of those really, really good throwers who just know how to put force in the ball. It looks like the ball is floating when it leaves their hand, versus someone like Eric, and maybe even Joe falls into this category too, where it's like you can see the effort going into the ball. It still works. The ball still flies far, but because of that, it's like so much hard. I think that's like the difference between like the explosive aggression versus like the pure technician. I think for right now, I'm sorry, T. I'm sorry, Nik, but I think I might go Eric for right now. So prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong.
Prove him wrong.
Come on, prove me wrong at Nationals this weekend, please. And, you know, speaking of Joe, I wanted to pull this out. Of course, in typical, you know, Joe Kovacs social media fashion, we don't really get to see the lift. But if I read this out, this is from his wife, Ashley, and coach. Repped out 375 kilos, 827 pounds today. Hoping to get it for 10, but I had to rack it at 7.
£827 for 7 reps. That is out of this world.
So this is something that I've talked about with Dane before. Back in the 80s, and you'd hear like older throwers, older coaches talk about, I once saw this guy walk into the gym and he was benching 400 pounds and he was 14 years old. Like you hear these stories that people like, and over the years they just get hyperbolic and you don't actually know what's true anymore. Guys like Joe Kovacs, guys like Eric Favors, they are hitting those like story numbers, the numbers that you don't think are actually real, that you think someone was joking about or trying to just tell a story. They're hitting those numbers and they have video evidence. And because of that, it makes you wonder like what the limit of the human body truly is.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. This is not something you should be able to do. Like, this is like, let's be real. This is something that you see unnatural athletes that are equipped, that are using equipment to assist them in lifts do. And Joe Kovacs has tested multiple times throughout the years. We have no reason to believe that he's not clean. And he's doing this and he's not a power lifter. That's the thing. He's not even a freaking power lifter. This is not his sport. And he's one of the greatest shot putters of all time. He's the second best all time. In terms of medal count, I think he might be number 1. Like, I don't know what you can say about it outside of like Joe Kovacs a freak, and he's getting up there in years. That's the thing. It's like you think he's going to be dialing back the strength training and the load as he gets older. This guy's in his mid-30s with 2 children, and he's only getting stronger.
Yeah. Like his shirt says, don't weaken, you know.
And we didn't pull this in, but there's video of him throwing in his backyard now. Him and his wife recently relocated, and it's like he's doing what he can to get it in. And it's like when you're hitting these kind of numbers, you can only think like, I remember when he had 860 pounds like 2 years ago, and Ashley basically was like, you know, you're going to guess how much, but you should ask how many. And he got it for 4, and people were losing their minds. They hit it for 4. He's hitting that's only 20 kilos less, and he's doing it for 7. That's all I got to say.
It's crazy.
And speaking of Eric, we had to highlight this. This is something that you've only ever probably seen Joe Kovacs do, maybe Kurt Jensen when he was still throwing. A 245 kilo, you know, behind the neck jerk, over 500 pounds, 540 pounds. He was featured on Sika Strength, which go follow Sika Strength on YouTube if you haven't already. They do really good strength reviews across the strength world, but they always talk about how throwers just make weights look like toys, and that's the best way you can describe Eric. This looks like a freaking toy.
Yeah. The thing is, like, he just makes it look so effortless. Like, this is so much weight, 540 pounds, and, you know, he just elevates, he gets under the bar, and you can see just the stability he has with that weight, you know, as he's recovering from the jerk. Like, I know it's hard for him, but he makes it look so easy. He makes it look so effortless. Like, it doesn't even look hard.
This is an example of what I'm going to continue saying are story weights. Weights that people talk about, but you don't actually believe happened, but they actually happened. So to continue on, you know, the freakish, historic story type lifts, like you saw with Joe Kovacs and with Eric's previous lift, this is a new gym record here at Garage Strength. This is one of the craziest lifts I've ever seen. I still can't believe he did it. I'm still reeling from it. But our boy Eric hitting a 170 kilogram, 374 pound 2-box snatch.
And look how effortless he made that. I was there. I'm the one who dapped him up. I'm pretty sure this was first try too, which is crazy to think.
Let's just look at this again. Of course, you can hear all the GS throwers just gassing him up in the background.
Like, in terms of just raw power, I think Eric is definitely up there.
Just think about this. Eric is not a weightlifter. Like, and I could be completely wrong, so someone in the comments, please tell me I'm an idiot. I feel like he'd be strong enough to compete on Ireland's national team as a weightlifter.
100%.
Right now.
100%.
Because I'm willing to bet you he could probably power clean and jerk maybe about 185 kilos. And I'm willing to bet you he could probably snatch, like, from the floor 150.
Oh, without a doubt. It's crazy. Like, he just moves so well. And when that bar gets to the hip, he just pops up. And it's, like I said, he makes it look ridiculously easy. It's insane.
So now we'll get back into the throws. And now we'll be covering, you know, the other side of indoor throwing and the weight throw. And I'll tell you what, Ole Miss as a program, they're probably the most dominant program for weight throw. And every team that John Smith has coached has had some woman, you know, getting close to breaking the world record, if not breaking the world record multiple times under his tutelage. And the same goes here, as he has Tariko Hagan, he has Jasmine Mitchell, he has Jelani Davis, and they just set the NCAA weight throw on fire here at this meet.
Absolutely. Everybody knows that Ole Miss is the top weight program in the NCAA. You know, Coach Smith has been doing a great job, you know, getting these guys technically proficient and, you know, getting these guys strong. Like, if you follow their training, they're pushing big weight and they're pushing it fast. And you can see that translate into their throwing. Like, they're so efficient, they're so smooth, but they're so powerful. And that all stems from what they're doing in the weight room.
One thing I want to say about this video, I like how they kind of shot it. I wish you could get a little closer, see the technique a little better. But just to understand how far they're throwing, the fact that they have like the nice aerial shot and you just see like the distance from the circle, like that's what a 24-meter throw looks like.
Yeah. That's actually a great point. Just like how far these guys are actually throwing, they have to get an aerial view for you to like truly grasp it.
Oh, God, that's just moving so fast. We have the current world leader, Erin Reese, throwing 25 meters and 26, 82 feet, 10 and a half inches. So this is now a meter further than the throws we literally just saw.
Yeah.
Can you give me some historical background on Erin? Like, she's a 70-meter hammer thrower, correct?
Correct. Last year, I believe Erin had a few meets at 24 meters, so seeing her go 25 pretty early on is like huge. I'm not sure this series, but obviously if you hit 25, I'm sure she could do it again. You you see she just works the ball left. She's super smooth, and she just translates everything from turn 1 all the way through into turn 4 and into the finish. So it's beautiful.
I mean, this is a big throw, especially as we lead into this weekend with Indoor USAs, because, she could be vying for her first national title. And then we have our next throw from Rachael at 25 meters 19, just short of that 25-26 we saw from Erin. Another contender for the title this year. Dude, 25 meters is no joke, and that means both these girls are also they're nipping at the heels of Gwen Berry's world record.
Absolutely. Rachael is another one who I believe only she hit 24 for the first time last year, and now she just went 25, which is huge. So it's like you were saying, we got indoor nationals this weekend, and it's going to be a great competition between her, Erin, Brooke, and some of the few other top weight women.
What I think is interesting is when you see how the weight travels relative to the girls we already watched, is she noticeably has longer limbs, and just seeing how far the weight just extends out from her center of mass to get that sling on it. To be honest, I'm not super educated in the technique of the weight, but how would you compare the techniques we've seen between these girls?
So, they set the ball up left, and they continuously progress the speed on each turn. So it's they both set up really well, and then each turn just gets faster and faster, and they both do a really good job of translating all of that into the finish. So looking at it, it's it doesn't surprise you that it goes 25, because you could just see they just hit it, which is it's huge.
And speaking of potential champions, we have the 2022 world champion in the hammer, Brooke Andersen, only the third woman ever to ever break 80 meters in the event, going 24:53. So while Brooke didn't throw 25 meters, she's always going to be in there in the mix. You never know what's going to take on the day of. And honestly, with the shape that she's in coming off of last season, her throwing 25 meters, that is just as likely as any other girl. And for all we know, she could even throw far enough to break the world record in the event. But it's crazy to see. I don't know if I've ever seen the event where there's been this many girls throwing high 24s to 25 meters.
Oh, absolutely. The women have been killing it this year. I was talking to Rachael Fabbri, one of our shot putters, and she was saying how the women are throwing, they're out throwing the men right now, which is insane, to think about, because it's these women are on fire. They've been killing it so much, and they've been progressing just the distance that this implement could be thrown. So it's just it's wild to think that how much the weight has grown in the past couple of years.
Well, and that's kind of you just kind of hit the nail on the head. The women are throwing the weight further than the men.
Yeah.
Right now, there's multiple women that are throwing the weight farther than the world lead in the men's weight through. And that's also same for the NCAA. To my knowledge, no one's broken 24 meters in the NCAA, but already 2-3 girls have broken 24 meters in the NCAA.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nuts. And this one's a bit more of a sentimental favorite for you, Sam.
Yeah, this is my homie, Lisa Wilson. Shout out Lisa. She works at MF Athletics, so if you need anything, make sure to call Lisa. Lisa just recently broke the Masters world record in the weight throw. She went 20:33, and this is honestly just I'm so happy for Lisa, because she's been a big advocate for hammer throwing and weight throwing, and just to see her go out there and still compete at a high level it's awesome. So big congrats to you, Lisa.
Congratulations, new world record holder. And then this one's kind of a personal favorite of mine. So we got Morgan Shigo up. Shigo throws on Instagram, throwing 22.64 in the weight. And a little backstory, Shigo is one of the original Garage Strength high school throwers. Back when Dane started the gym, him and I were back training together in the old original garage where Garage Strength got its name. And that would have been, 14 years ago. But he his family still only lived down the street from the gym. It's really cool to see where his career's gone to become a 76-meter hammer thrower, one of the best in the world. I wish him all the luck going to nationals this weekend. I think he's going to be due for some big throws. He's one of the greatest natural athletes I've ever met. And that's even counting, some Olympians I've got the, privilege to work with. So it's exciting to see what he'll do this weekend, but also just understanding, like, dude, he's kind of a dark horse, and he's always in the mix. And, watch out, because he's coming for you. And then to finish it off, we got the current world leader, Daniel Haugh, going 24:53. And, Danny has always been in the mix as one of the best American hammer throwers. It's funny to me watching him because he just reminds me of, like, Judd Logan 30 years ago when he was throwing, just the vibe he brings, but also, like, the bandana. And basically, he's one of those guys that every thrower I talk to say nothing but great things about him. He's one of the nicest dudes and just a phenomenal athlete.
Absolutely. I haven't met Danny Haugh yet, but I'm a big fan of what he does in the circle. Whenever, like, I'm working with athletes, I always tend to show his technique to those athletes, just how nice and long and relaxed he is, but how he accelerates through each turn. I think Danny Haugh has some of the best technique out there, and, this throw shows that. He went 24:53, and, this was his season opener, so it's just like, he's in a really good spot to do something well, and I hope he does, because, like I said, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you guys can find a stream where we hopefully can get some content after the national meet occurs, cheer on these athletes, man, because it's going to be some fireworks this weekend. For all you viewers out there that you guys want to, you see these elite throwers, you want to try to train, eventually get to that level, make sure you head over to peakstrength.app. You can get your own personalized throwing strength training program in the shot put, in the discus, in the javelin, even the hammer thrower. We got it all over at peakstrength.app. You can download the Peak Strength app, and you get your first 7 days free of charge, man. Dude, the results you get from that app are incredible, and we've seen some really good results from our throwers. But if you also want to learn how to improve your technique, head over to throwsuniversity.com, and this guy right here will get you some technical analysis, make sure your footwork's moving right, make sure you're getting some big tosses. Sam, what can people expect from analysis?
Absolutely. So like Jason just said, we'll get a video of what you're doing. We'll break it down, and then we'll reassess what you can do to better your technique. If you're looking to get better, head over to throwsu.com.
And head over to throwsuniversity.com. We also got some books so you can drop some bombs. Peace.